Ladies and gentlemen, this is Internet Personality Vangelus, and I want to mutter my way and mumble my way through transforming this toy with you, because it can be a little bit tricky your first time, and maybe the help, or at least the mumbling, will help. First thing I'm going to say, though, we're going to ditch all of her accoutrements and junk. Her swords and her guns are coming off, and that little heel stand is coming off, and I am going to leave them off, because they go on at the end of either mode, and it's pretty easy to put them on there however you like. You don't need my help with that. But transforming her, the first thing we're going to do is go robot to vehicle, because that's why like 90% of you are probably even here right now. I'm going to leave the flaps on, and as I've said, and as many others have said, you can take them off and it's probably easier. I'm just a showboat. So I never remember really how I want to do this. I'm just going to fold the feet down first. I'll probably do this all in some kind of weird order, but hopefully it will all make sense to you. We're going to go back here and get all the crazy junk going. Oh, and before you forget, and I forget this all the time, pull that out. Sometimes I forget to do that till the very end and I can't tell why things aren't fitting together. That's usually why. Anyway, here's the tricky bit right away. The flaps and all this mess. So, if you've seen videos of this, you know what's going on. So we gotta move this down. Oh yeah, rotate our head around first. Move this down, then we gotta 180 it and simultaneously hook those curved bits onto those curved bits. And if you want to do this with the flaps, I think maybe rotate this up first. And then basically, I like to try to orient the flaps like perpendicular, and that tends to help a little bit. So we'll get her down here, and then let's go. I did it! Hooray! So that bit, no matter what I tell you, and no matter how many times I show it to you, that bit of the transformation is like 99% feel. You kind of just get to know how to twist it and push it in a way that doesn't pop it off of the pop the C-clip off of the rod there. And if that does come off, put it back on in a robot mode configuration. It's a lot easier. Trust me. Anyway, down here we've got her butt flap ready. We can actually get this other tricky bit done, which is ramming her head through her own butt, which is, again, kind of tricky. So, start off like this. Get the head through the loop. Crown it, if you will, and in like here. And then the next thing to do is to make sure that up here, this stuff is lining up happily. If this little tab does not rest in that little divot, it won't click, but it's got to rest there. That's part of the key. Then, take the head with the head like tilted back as far as it'll go, so that it's like this. So I've tilted the head back, and then move this down all together. And you got to get something over a lip here, as you can see right there. Boom. Alright, you're done. In doing that, there was a little tab that rests again. Oh, no, there we go. It just popped into place. There's a little tab there that rests in a slot in the back of her head. That's really like a guiding point more than anything else. Getting that thing over that thing is a major part of that step. The rest of this is a lot easier to do, even when you're new to this. Also, these hip skirt things. Ideally, you actually do all that, when this thing's still more out of the way, rotate them back a little so that you're seeing the ball joint from the underside of the car. I believe this is the safest position for them and where they get the least in the way. So something like that. And we'll do this all over again. One more time for your viewing pleasure. Self-head butt insertion go. With focus on the right part. There you go. Okay, so from here, we're going to now ram her arms into her own legs. Again, a little tricky, I admit. Starting off with the arms are an easy place to start because they kind of do their own transformation and they're basically done. So turn the bicep sideways and then tab the shoulder pad into that bicep. Then double joint the arm up and tab the elbow into the shoulder pad. Boom, you're done. And Bob's probably also your uncle. Let's do it one more time over here, just in case. Turn this sideways, tab that in, and then hup, butt, up, click. Hooray. Now, down here with these forearm thingies, the way you want to set this up is, and by the way, this is another point where the flaps can start getting in the way, so I usually flip them up like that. The little slots down here, you can rotate these around on those. Those slots are entirely to rotate these, and rotating these is entirely to make this next part a bit easier. So, you rest her hands in here, and now with the forearms, how do you explain this, really? So, that tab there you want to have facing this way, because that little tab here is going to go into... Hang on, reveal yourself to me. This little slot here. So, you get this in. That also means the peg inside here is going into her hand, or into her palm, bottom side in. So, when that is all together, this will actually cause a slight click if you get it lined up right. And this is one of the hardest tricks to learn with this toy. And once you get it, it's a lot easier than the first couple of times, at least in my experience. There we go. Okay, so it's in. And once it's in... Oh, wait, it's out again. This is also the thing that can pop out really easy. It's not necessary for it to be tabbed in for the vehicle mode to be solid, but I really prefer it to be tabbed in. Okay, I think it's in now. And then this thing, you want to have these tabs facing up and down like this, so it's all oriented, whoop, this way. And we'll do this again on the other side, just for your educational pleasure. That one clicked. You heard that, right? Okay, and then we can turn this. And if it's all clicked together, turning this entire leg, it'll take the hand with it when it rotates. And you can see here that now this pink thing is tabbed into the white slot. And we'll move this down here. Alright, this is all ready to go. Let's straighten this up a bit. Yeah. Right. Yeah, okay. Now, all the hard stuff is done. And in doing all that, I undid all of this again. So, with the third time... Hooray! Okay. Now I want to fold these down. Again, these flaps are super duper in the way. One thing I do, even though I'm not wanting to take them out, I do take them a bit out. Like, it's kind of like I'm extending a sliding joint is what I tell myself. So these can rotate down a bit farther. Then I can move these two panels down. And then rotate these back up. There we go. So, these things you can orient them however you want. It's weird. There's like a cut in here and it feels like they're supposed to sit like this, but they look a bit better up here. But then they're not really properly seated, so I don't know, man. This next part is surprisingly hard. All you gotta do is fold her leg over, but you gotta get that slot here into that tab there, and you kind of have to do it sideways. And doing this is a real great time, and a common time for the hand to come untabbed from inside the leg. And like I said, it doesn't really affect the overall stability of the car mode, but it annoys me when it happens. Anyway, I've got this all together now. I'm just tabbing this in so I can show you the finished thing. And we'll go through one more time on the other side. There's a little circular dent there that matches up with the circular ankle thing on her foot. And it doesn't lock in, it's just kind of like a guiding tab. Turn this sideways ever so slightly, flip this over. Getting the right double bend on the knee is another case of kind of just getting to know how the toy feels. So once you do it a few times, you kind of get to know, like, alright, I gotta, like, ease it in this way. But now it's together, and then we'll just fold this down and move this in. This will peg in here and tab in there. Peg in here, tab in there. Boom. Oh, there's one other thing. Sorry. We also got to tab the bottom of the foot into this pink thing here. Like that. Do it one more time, just so you can see it more closely. How did I forget to show this? There we go. You see? That little tab on the other side went into a slot in that pink part of the foot there. Here, we'll even raise it up so you can see it entering the slot. Was that worth it? This vehicle mode transformation is not actually all that hard once you know how it works. And a good 30% of getting good at this is not having it described to you or seeing it happen, it's just doing it and getting used to the feel of the toy. The sight part and the description part, they give you the concepts, but there is a big chunk of this which is just knowing how it moves. And once you do, it's pretty simple. Going back to robot mode, we'll just do that once, mostly to show you the back flap part, but as you can imagine, this is way easier, because you're basically just undoing all the hard work and pretty much pulling on everything. Anything that's locked together, you kind of just yank apart, and it's real. It's almost deceptively simple going this way compared to going into vehicle mode. But there is still one bit that I think is tricky, and that's only if you care as much as I do about getting the collar to lock together right. Most of you probably don't need to care all that much. So get her butt flap oriented, get her hip skirts out. These legs, so these little bits here tab in to where the wrists tabbed in, so that's a shared slot. That's kind of cool. Anyway, down here, let's get the arms ready. The arms are super simple. Just get that stuff going. I really want to get to the tricky part. The tricky part. I call it the fun part. It's also the part where sometimes it just doesn't work for me because I misalign something and don't realize it, and I'm sitting there for like 5 minutes trying to figure it out. Usually I swivel the head around during transformation. Okay, get the chest down. So first trick, get the chest all the way down. And don't forget to compress that. Okay, so the rotation part of this isn't the hard part. It's really getting everything together afterwards. But this is also another spot where it's pretty easy to accidentally pop everything apart up there. So again, you're just sort of easing it off those circular things while sliding it down and back and around these flaps. There we go. And these dents and this whole cockpit thing basically needs to end up underneath the round things that were mounted inside those. So you're going from these being filled by those to these being under those. So here's the tricky bit. The way that I looked at this toy for a while. The way I've figured it works best is, in this order, you take this kind of like slingshot bar here and push that up against her spine, but then leave the rest of this open, like that. Then take the cockpit window and sort of get that nestled down like that. And I'll take one of these off just to more easily demonstrate. The placement of the circle, or of the hole where the flaps peg in is the important thing. To get this collar bit to mount inside there correctly, I believe you need to make sure that this bit is down, like down as far as it will go, while still all coming together. So that can be a bit tricky. And if you do it right, though, then this should line up and tab in super solid like that. And then she'll have this little pink spike back here preventing her head from looking up. It'll still sit forward happily, it just won't be able to look up. And so if you do want it to look up, then just, transform it a bit more loosey-goosey like this. This still looks fine. Up here, it's a bit messier, there's a bit more gappiness there, but the toy still holds together fine, and now she can look up in robot mode. Me? I don't know, I have problems, man. I need to have that collar thing filled up and tabbed together properly, which means doing it like that. So, I'll just give you the side view. If you want to have that tab in there properly, as far as I can tell, that's what she's got to look like in profile. All like that. And then down here, like this was up here, I just put this down so that the white bit is sort of loosely resting on top of the very bottom of the cockpit flap. So there you go. That's the goal right there. That's what you're aiming for, is that setup on the inside. And then if you did take these off, you can now stick them back on super easy. So that's transforming the Azalea mold, be it Azalea the Avenger, Zinnia Parapax Medic, Azalea Asterisk, Stealth Shadow Assassin Azalea. Hope that helped. I don't think I really need to show how to transform her into the other vehicle modes, because that's all real simple, like, variant stuff on the alt mode end. If you really want to see those alternate vehicle mode transformations, I could do it for Eupatorium and Salvia Promenon, since they actually have alternate vehicle transformations. I don't know, let me know in the comments. Anyway, this has been Internet Personality Vangelus. That's this little pseudo-instructional mumble to myself while I transform a toy video. Hope it helped. See ya.